I thought we were supposed to argue.
Both sides, there's liberals and there's conservatives. We're gonna do this at the end of the day, no matter what.
Globally, I think he is an awful statesman. He sucks at business. He is like bankrupt nearly everything he's done.
At the end of the day, he's done everything he said he was going to. I'm born and raised Christian. Well, then aren't you at that point God in your own
That's
mind?
all religion has always ever been. From the beginning is just a system of control.
Are we more divided than ever? We put two strangers with opposing views in one room to find out.
I'm Mason. I'm 26 from Richland, Washington. I stream on Kick Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can find me at Mesa Dia over there. And I'm Christian and conservative.
Rob Snow, I'm 48. I'm pretty far left-leaning. I'm a member of the Satanic Temple, but staunchly atheist.
Are men and women equal in today's society?
Yeah, I feel that it's sort of written that way, but it's not 100% delivered. So it's sort of like we've been trying to do the right thing, and we've put things down, but I just don't feel that it's always delivered on.
Yeah.
And that's part and parcel with the cultural thing too. It seems to like if women's rights are important in an area, then it gets enforced better. Like,
right.
And then in some areas it might not be that they're even used to that stuff, and they get to tolerate,
they've tolerated
abuse
it for long enough.
And I don't know it almost feels like you can say both in some ways. Like, yeah, we've been pushing forward, but also it's almost like we don't always stand up in the right ways because there's cases that come up every once in a while.
Well, I mean, I'd sit here and say I don't think that as men we're protected nearly as much in terms of like familial court systems. For instance, just from seeing all the different horror stories and stuff like that, where fathers try to be involved with their children, and then just because the mom is saying, well, this happened one time back when we were together. Okay, well, hey, let's look at the man for what has happened over the entire course of this child being, everything that's happened leading up to all this, and then reevaluate for what it is. And I think a lot of men and a lot of fathers get screwed over at the end of the day. And if you want to go into it for women, I think women sit there and they actually are supported in a lot of cases with that because a lot of men are more aggressive. There's factual statistics that have been proven where men are more aggressive just when they're depressed or they have certain things because it shows that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like I see all that and I look at it from the perspective, like the lens of, okay, if your mental's not right, for instance, cool, get your stuff figured out. Your physical's not right, get your stuff figured out. Your finances aren't right, get your stuff figured out. So at the end of the day, it's a personal choice too, because like what are you gonna sit there and tolerate yourself as well? Going back to the financial stuff, women, they'll sit there and, like you're saying, in the workplace. If a woman's doing the same job I am, I want her to get paid the same exact wage I am, because she's doing the same thing. She's been educated the same way, she's been trained the same way that I have, and if she can do it better than me or teach me, why not?
My mom wanted to get a job, and my dad just blew up about it. And I was just like, dude, calm down. Like, he was in between jobs at the time. I was like, what's the big deal? And he was just like, how would you like it if your wife had a job? And I was like, what?
Yeah.
It was just like, that distance.
I'd say it's a generational thing, because I'm 26, and my girlfriend, she wants to work. She wants to be the primary breadwinner, and it makes it easier for me because like I can work from home, I can do stuff with the kids, and I can be the stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
Which it's different entirely. And a lot of people, they'll still want the traditional housewife, or they'll want both income families. Because nowadays, I mean, that's kind of what you have to be able to live. And
yeah, no, it's true. You need two incomes to pay rent sometimes.
Is MAGA a cult?
I mean, technically no, to be perfectly honest, because technically there's not like, it lacks I would assume, the religious structure. There's not an actual religious structure. it does tick a few boxes in some people, like the way that they are super gung-ho and about it. But some,
I'll
you know,
100% agree with you on that. From the start, I've never thought that it was a cult. I've always thought that, like, obviously there's going to be extremists, but that's the same thing on both sides. There's liberals and there's conservatives. We're going to do this at the end of the day, no matter what. So,
they seem cult-like at times, though.
right.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
and I could argue, you know, there's times where, like, the stereotype for the liberal is the blue-haired Karen that's screaming and shouting at God for no reason, just at the sky because they're mad, you know. And so I understand that one entirely. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both difficult to get through once they're fired up. They're just going forward. And this goes back to that thing when I was saying about like the propaganda machines.
Yeah.
It's almost like that's all they're tuned into, and they just get worked up and go forward.
Well, I almost want to say it's the way social media is right now, because it's all those algorithms. You know what I mean? Because you're looking at your phone, and what are you looking at? You're getting fed everything you want to see at the end of the day. It's not what it used to be, like what the most recent thing that popped up was back when Facebook first started. Now it's just what you're tuned in to see, basically.
I thought we were supposed to argue. No, the algorithms are problematic because it sucks at what actually engages people is like heightened emotion that, you know, if it pisses you off, you'll engage with it. How many times you're like, why do I keep seeing this thing that fucking pisses me off?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, because you keep stopping on it and then interacting with it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God.
Or there's times where, like, I'm on TikTok and, you know, I'm in the middle of a chore or something, and then all of a sudden you put your phone down and it's the same video over and over and over again. Then you, like, move on to the next thing, you know, turn off your phone, whatever, go to bed or wake up the next morning, open it back up, and it's like 5 or 6 different videos.
And if that's all the information you're getting is this through this filtered algorithm thing, that's all you see too. If all you're going, it's complete blinders up. If all you see is the blue-haired Karen or some weird MAGA guy from, you know, I'm just like, oh God, the world's full of crazies. And you show up and you're like, actually, and this keeps happening to me on occasion. I keep thinking that, like, oh no, it's going to be awful. And then I meet people and I'm like, where did this idea come from that they're going to be so awful? It's just social media or something like that.
Is Donald Trump a good president?
I'll go first on this one. I think he's a net positive. Sure, he's had his backlash, or people have tried to do the whole, you know, charges against him and try to get the whole impeachment going. But at the end of the day, he's done everything he said he was going to. And yeah, there's been some things that he hasn't fully, you know, finished out on. But for instance, I can say the whole scheduling of marijuana, dropping it finally down to the Schedule 1 matching alcohol as well. Yeah. You know, it's starting to help a lot of people get out of, you know, false misdemeanor charges or false felony charges, and drop those to lower, and then get them back to their families or help them out, you know, get back to society, stuff like that. And so I think the little things that he's done has provided the country with a lot more benefit than we're truly seeing. And I think it's going to, like I had said at the start of this whole thing, I think it's a long game. I think it's going to benefit the country in the long term more than anything else.
I don't know socially how we're going to turn out. He's been poking a lot of things. And so it honestly, I mean, locally, I'm not sure. Like, we could go good or bad. It kind of depends on how we end up getting through all of this. But globally, I think he is an awful statesman.
I'll sit here and I'll say, you know, there's some things that he's like, you know, the whole AI post that he put out. There's certain things that he's done where it's like, obviously, okay, let's take a reel back and, you know, kind of trying to find our feet again. But I really don't think globally he's done anything truly negative either, though, at the end of the day, just because he's benefited most countries that he's helped out or talked to in terms of a lot of the stuff that he's enacted. Like the tariffs, for instance, it's been starting to benefit the U.S. Now we're starting to get a lot more cost of living expenses dropped, like gallons of milk are starting to get cheaper, eggs are starting to get cheaper, certain things that you know, were $5-6 here at least a couple months ago are now starting to get back to where they're like $3-4 at the end of the day. And it's the little things that I think like aren't getting noticed that again, it plays into the whole geopolitical role of where we are and how we benefit, Russia, for instance, China, what they can help us out, because yeah, we're getting all our imported goods from there, but now that we have all these tariffs, they're still starting to pay them. And we're still getting our goods at the end of the day.
How is he directly involved in all of those different areas? Isn't that like a different...
He's still the one that has to go and have the final say after all things are said and done.
How he even got nominated. Because one, he sucks at business. He is like bankrupt nearly everything he's done. And he's questionable in his character at best. And I've just found it fascinating that he was pushed forward, considering that it was still within my lifetime that there was a candidate that lost because he made a funny noise when he was celebrating. I forgot who that guy's name was, but he went, "Rah!"
I don't even know who that was.
And he was raked over the coals and he dropped out. And I'm like, and now we can, it feels wild, the swing, the change. A lot of it too was the same side. It was, because I think he was a Democrat and they skewered him for that. And then they just turned the blind eye to a different guy who has even bigger problems. And I'm like, huh. It's interesting, yeah.
I mean, I'd argue that I think a lot of, I think my generation and the kids that are, or well, I say kids, but young adults that are becoming, older and stuff like that, now that we're having our voices heard in terms of, okay, we want stuff to get done. We want to be able to have the lives that we had as kids for our own kids at the end of the day. And the way things were headed prior, it just didn't seem like it was going to happen. And I think COVID, for me at least, while Biden was in office, it prevented a lot of things for me to be able to see future happening. I mean, obviously, granted, COVID was COVID, but I think the lockdown played a lot into it. I think all the way that the policies were handled during the vaccination processes and all that stuff, it caused a lot of issues. And that's why I getting him back into office. It's a net positive overall.
Do you believe in God?
I do. I'm born and raised Christian, but I mean, that has plenty of different implications nowadays. I think the amount of life that I've lived being 26 and in the military, out of the military, retired, divorced, having a kid, all these things, it's changed a lot of how I see Christianity as a whole. And I don't think that, at the end of the day, I think church is a good thing. I think, reading your Bible is the baseline for what you need to do as a Christian, or trying to find a baseline for your morals as a human. And I think that's what the Bible provides, and what Christianity helps a lot of people find is that moral guideline.
I am not a Christian. I don't value religion, period. Religion, all of it, every single kind of it, as a valuable asset to humanity. All it seems to be is some sort of evolutionary throwback from maybe when we were needing to be in groups to survive. But now it's simply a thing in the brain that happens because it's universal across everyone. It seems to have this way of thinking, the religious way of thinking, because everybody has a religious thing, and if they don't have that, then they'll have some other group think thing. Group think, religious thought, all of it. Put it in there, take it and throw it in the trash. Because all it does is that if everyone has this wiring like that, someone always comes along and grabs that up and then controls everybody. That's all religion has always ever been. From the beginning is just a system of control. A grain of salt with what I say, because I've said this to a few people and they go, whoa, you can't live like that. That's a real harsh view of things. People want this warm fuzzy, and I'm like, okay, I get it. That's my view, but I understand that not everyone can live like that, and some people actually need to have because it exists, that thing, the way we work, it exists, it is there.
So you're-
There's a thing of wanting to belong to a group, and religion kind of picks at that and pulls on parts of that.
You're saying it manipulates people.
Yeah, that's why churches are built the way they are. They're grandiose and they're acoustically spectacular on purpose. In the old days, people didn't have music other than maybe a stringed instrument that someone in the village had, you know. They would go to a church, they would see stained glass, they would hear this fantastic reverb for like maybe the first time in who knows how long. And they would have an experience. Part of that experience is they were getting overwhelmed by this fantastical architecture and stuff. And it was completely on purpose. That's like manipulation. So where's the part? Like why can't the nugget of their truth just exist outside? Can't they take that stuff and go sit outside on a stump somewhere and then say the same thing, and it doesn't have to be in that great big building?
So I'd argue that it is everywhere. I mean, that's the whole basis of what, at least my view of Christianity is, you know, and a lot of people, they'll sit there and they'll pick and choose their Bible verses. They'll say, oh, you know, for I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Well, yeah, you can, but that doesn't mean you can go out and drink and you'll feel better the day after. You know what I mean? Or like, well, God says, you know, that I'm forgiven, so at the end of the day, I'm going to go, you know, be adulterous and sleep with 5 different people that are all married, you know? Like,
Yeah.
It goes back to me saying it's there for the guideline, and at the end of the day, it's written down in there. The Bible is God's word, and it's with you no matter what.
How do you ground your morals without religion?
I have developed the stance though that doesn't matter how I feel about religion, because I'm just some crazy guy over here going, oh, this is weird. When there's like literally billions of people,
Right.
and there's just like me and probably 5 other people that think like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm just like, this is weird. So I was like, well, how do I live in a world like this, right? Like, if you had such stark boundaries and stuff like that, and everyone around you is like, oh my gosh, I see it as like, is it helping you be a better person? And if that's what it is, then it is. Then I'm just gonna let it be.
You let people live how they
Yeah. I'm like, you cool. Like, is it you're being a better person? It helped you, whatever. Because guess what? There's lots of things that everyone needs in life.
Right.
And I'm not gonna sit here and be like, you should think like me,
Well,
because then I just end up becoming like a cult leader,
Right.
which is the exact opposite of what the point of it is. And like, all I do is like, I can say it, and I'm like, everybody, like, I'm not coming at you with like a pitchforks or whatever. I'm just like, I think this is crazy, but as long as it makes you a better person, then like we can coexist. For me, where do my moral and ethics? I take a step back and go, well, look at it. It usually comes from your parents or whoever has raised you. You can think that you have different ideas and structures as an adult, but the foundation was laid by the people that were raised you. That is 100% like where that stuff comes from. And in the culture that you're in. So when you go to school, what are the cultural things that, your friends, not so much maybe the teachers and like their rules that they have, but like how you play and interact with your peers. These are all the things that develop, right and wrong. Like, can you just run up and clobber somebody and get away with it? And if you can, you'll probably keep doing it because why not? Whatever. It's just stuff like that. It's really rudimentary. And then as you get older, you can start questioning, does this make sense to me? And on and on. And then ultimately, though, where you live dictates the minutia of what is actionable, right and wrong.
You're looking at the Bible, right? And it becomes a personal relationship with you and God, but you close that Bible and you're still making decisions off of you being, with that personal relationship with God, but you don't have that guideline there or any sort of guideline. Well, then aren't you at that point God in your own mind?
Historically speaking, morals and ethics are almost universally subjective to whatever culture is existing at that time. There seems to be a few things that we have continuously agreed upon that we don't like stealing other people's things is almost a universal thing, and killing other people, and unnecessarily. Got to put a little mark.
Right.
There's definitely good reasons to kill people. So technically, yes, I'm a member of the Satanic Temple. I'm only a member of that. I was like, well, they're all pretty much atheists, except some of them are theistic or believe in it more. And then there's a lot of pageantry involved in both branches of Satanism. And I was like, so that's what I just like, that they are advocates for the separation of church and state, and they are one of the best at getting shit done to keep that in, and I'm very strong about that. So I was going to I was raised in JW, the Witnesses. My mom she still is that, she still does that. And I was going with her, and I was reading the stuff, and I was doing the thing, getting involved, and my aunt and uncle got in a car accident, and it was in 1988. And we were just there taking care of my cousins, because they obviously had to go to the hospital. My uncle died, so the night of, my mom said, don't forget to say your prayers, right? So that nothing, happens and whatever. And I didn't, because I was watching a movie, and then I fell asleep. And then the next day I found out my uncle died. And so I had the initial realization that I felt really horrible about that. And then I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't even make sense. That why would I have any control over that at all? And it was just, and if you look at people that come out of religious places, it always starts with just a little bit, and then the willingness to keep pulling on it. There's a little chink in the armor, and you just go, well, that's curious, and you just keep poking at it, and what you find is that it just keeps going. It just opens right up, and you're like, oh. So from then, I started backing out. I stopped going to all of those things. I was just like, I don't know, this thing. I started, which is a weird thing, because I had no outside influence, but I just myself personally just owned up and was like, no, I'm going to challenge it and just say, I just threw down. I was like, are you really there or not? I had those tests. I did all the things that a lot of people sometimes go through, it seems like, and you hear their stories. And then, I don't know, I flirted around with Buddhism, and then I found out that it's the same thing. Meditation is great on its own, but Buddhism as a religion, it still does all of the good parts of, they want to control you. They make you give up things, and they want you to be a certain way to give you guilt so that you can stay in line and stuff like that.
Should religion play any role in politics?
I mean, I think politics should be kept within what it needs to be kept within, the good of the people at the end of the day, the country. I mean, separation of church and state, I do think that the fact that we're not saying indivisible under God anymore kind of was shocking, and I do think it needs to go back to how it used to be, because that's what the country was founded upon. But I also understand the whole thing of freedom of religion as well. And I'm never going to be that Christian that's going to sit there and say, oh, you're wrong for doing that. But I will be that Christian that'll say the cliche of, hey, I'll pray for you, And whether that's with me in private, or, if you'd be comfortable enough and I do it on the side or something like that,
Yeah.
That's something where it's more of let's have a conversation about it. Whereas when they're on the screen like that, they're put up for everybody to see. They are the show. You got to know when to pick and choose your battles. And I think that where using it for a dog and pony show is not what we should be doing. I think flaunting it around like it's a trend is not something we should be doing in the slightest.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I totally agree with that. Like that is like flaunting a religion around like it's like some.
I'll be,
really
I'll be
cool.
proud of who I am. I'll wear the badge of Christianity. I got it on my arm right here. You know what I mean? But
it just feels gross, right?
it's the gallivanting and making it to where it's not what it means to be, and blaspheming it. Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, because they're.
There's a lot of blasphemers right now that are out there that are making it to where it's not what it should be and overblowing it, I will say. But
like you didn't even read your own book.
At the end of the day, you kind of have to go back and goes to the whole, okay, where do I discern what's good and what's not good for me, within my journey as a Christian and learning how I do, how to do this right. And I think that's the thing for all of us, even as like humans in general. How do we move on and keep doing this right?
Culture and religion, which is part of the people, like the structure of the government can be outside of all of that tumultuous chaos that is like, what is Christianity? Is it this? Is it that? Because then if it's tied to it too closely, it's like, what is our country then? We need it to be blank of all of that and just be really solid, rigid structure that doesn't take part in any of that, like, who's the Pope now, or who is our leader and what is their sway on our policies. We need all of that out of there so that we can have a solid foundation, which is what should be the Constitution, is like this solid foundation of this is where we get our rules and how we do our things.
And I mean, when they look at the Constitution, you look at the Bible, they took so much from it at the end of the day, and it's still there, you know what I mean?
Yes, I understand
that's
that.
the thing where it's like, it sucks because, like you said before, people will take that and they'll twist it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is it's used, the religious part of it's used for the sake of promotional gain. Mm-hmm. And it's just it's a schmaz, is what my buddy likes to say.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a lot of, and I do have to say that yes, I think we dislike the same, predominantly the same dislikable people, because they're the ones that do all the problematic things, and then I'm over here going like, well, all you, and it's like, you're like, no, I'm not part of that. I'm just trying to be a good person.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, take care of your bro.
I've seen those
rails.
I see those Facebook posts, and they've been circulating for a while now, ever since weed got legalized. But as long as my neighbor can sit there with his gay friend, and they're smoking their J out in their lawn with their guns and they're toting doing their thing, I don't care as long as we're all happy and free. That's my biggest thing.
I have recently in the last few years realized that we can't all live like the way I think, because everyone else doesn't think this way, and this is good for them. Like, if they're happy, what leg do I have to stand on to say, well, you're not, living in reality, or whatever I would want. Whatever the
people on social media
I'm
all the
like,
time
oh
go
my
and
God,
there.
they're fine.
Right.
They're fine. They're happy. What the hell? And at the end of the day, let's look at it and go like, who's unhappy and why? Mm-hmm. And then who's happy, and let's figure out, can we move this around so everyone's a little bit happier?
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
If you want to be a part of a future episode, message us on Instagram @StayPerplexed. We shoot in Tri-Cities, Washington.